Hey, what's going on, guys? In today's video, we are going to be ranking the best grunt type mobile suits from the various Gundam series. In a recent post online, I asked you guys to share with me your favorite grunt suit, and I'm going to be taking a look at all of them and ranking them. We've got 76 different grunt suits that we're going to be ranking in today's video, so grab a drink, grab a snack. I've got some snacks here because today's video is once again sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. And I'm super excited to have Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co back because I absolutely love these boxes, not only just for the awesome Japanese snacks and treats and stuff that you get in here, but also for the cultural booklet, which honestly is probably one of my favorite parts of these boxes. Now for the Tokyo Treat monthly subscription box here, it's full of fun Japanese snacks like limited edition sweets, Kit Kats, chips, noodles, and lots of stuff that's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to get outside of Japan. The theme for this month's box is Osaka Snacktacular. I love Osaka, and I'm definitely looking forward to trying some of these snacks in this one. The Kit Kat flavor this month being salted caramel Kit Kats. And so as I said, I love the cultural guides. These are numbered and they give you the date in here, so I have a small collection of them. I love these a lot. Really cool JR Rail keychain in there that's not included in this set, unfortunately, but it would be something that'd be cool to see in future boxes if they included keychains. I know it's meant to be a snack box, but a keychain would be a nice addition. So we got really cool art here on the front. And yeah, the inside is packed with really nicely curated photos, information about all the snacks inside, but then lots of cultural stuff in here as well. So comparing Osaka versus Tokyo, for example, you'll just get a lot of really fun, interesting information if you're interested in Japanese culture. These are really cool to read through. As for the Sakura Co monthly subscription box, this one's more focused on artisanal snacks and sweets. You always have this really elegant box design and it's filled with all sorts of really delicious stuff in there. The snacks again are carefully curated and not your typical treats that you'd find in convenience stores. And the theme for this month's box is Heritage of Hiroshima. I've been to Hiroshima a couple times, guys, and I highly recommend you guys to visit if you ever get the chance. It's such a nice city, obviously with a lot of history there as well. So really looking forward to checking out some of these treats here from the area. For the cultural guide here, once again, we've got Heritage of Hiroshima. This is volume 63. You've got this big torii gate there at Miyajima in Hiroshima, an awesome little island in the bay there that again is a point that I highly recommend you guys to visit if you ever get the chance. And in here, you're once again going to get a lot of really interesting cultural information, but also information about the maker highlights, the local snack makers and confectionaries that they partner with for each box. So you'll get information about that, information about all the snacks again. And for reference, they do also provide you with allergy information and let you know if they're vegetarian friendly. And this is particularly awesome because there's also a feature in here about Onomichi, which is another city that I've visited there and I absolutely loved. Another place I would highly recommend you guys to visit. The last thing here in the Sakura Co box is you're also going to get a piece of tableware in each box. It could be like a small cup, a small dish, chopsticks, something like that. In this case, it is going to be a small sauce dish. And this is absolutely beautiful. I love this. Interestingly, they don't have their logo on the bottom of this, which I think that they normally do in other ones that I've got in the past, but this one is really nice. I love the finish on that. I'm really looking forward to using this at home. And so of course, if you guys want to check out Tokyo Treat and or Sakura Co, there will be links down below in the video description and in the pinned comment. You can also get $5 off your first box using my code there, so check those out. So alright guys, let's check out the tier list. Now as you can see here, I've got it in S, A, B, C, and D. But really, I mean, the grunts are never that bad. We can't be too hard on the grunts, so I didn't want to do any of them too dirty. So we got super, awesome, brave, cool, and that's what's up. Now these aren't in any particular order, but there you can see all 76 that we're going to be going through here today. And I do got my tea brewed here from the Sakura Co box. The tea this month is Shiran green tea here from Kagoshima. Everybody loves green tea. Looking forward to trying this out here, but let's go ahead and get right into the tier list. Starting off with the very first one of the bunch, the Adele. And let me just also remind you guys that this is not by any means going to be scientific or objective at all. This is just for fun. The Adele, I'm going to put in awesome just because I'm happy to see some age designs on here. I really love a lot of the mobile suit designs from Gundam Age, particularly the grunt suit designs and their variations. I think they don't get enough love, but they're really cool designs and really nicely balanced, where they do look like grunt suits. They look different from the Gundams, but they also don't look like they're just going to get blown away straight away. They do look like they have some fight in them. So next up here we have the Gyaradoga, probably one of the toughest looking grunt suits out there. I should also say that some of these suits that we've got on here are not exactly mobile suits, like in the case of the ball. And then also some of them are just limited production suits, which means that there may have only been, you know, 3, 4, 5 of them made. Not exactly mass production grunts, but still grunt nonetheless. The Gyaradoga I'm also going to put up here in awesome. I'm tempted to put it in S tier, to be honest. And while this is mainly about the design of the mobile suits, I do have to say that the model kits of the Gyaradoga, both the HGUC and the MG, are both really good model kits as well. So I think actually I will bump it up to S tier just for that alone. Up next, the Bawu. Then here, I'm going to actually put the Bawu down in cool. It's a cool design for sure, but it's not really one of my favorites. The transformation's kind of goofy looking. I mean, let's be real. Up next, the Gyaradoga. I'm just going to go ahead and put this right up there next to the Gyaradoga. I love the Gyaradoga, although I've always felt like looking at the artwork of the Gyaradoga. I mean, I love it in the anime. The artwork of it, though, does look very... It's probably the most looking design, to be honest, so it feels kind of weird to like it so much, but let's go ahead and take a little snack break here with these maple butter bites from the Tokyo Treat box here. Hai Nomi maple butter bites, and these look really like light and flaky. Just look like that. These very nice light little bites, sort of like gigantic oyster crackers, at least is like how they look. The outside's really light and flaky, but the inside's like a little bit more chewy. I guess that would be the sweet maple chocolate that's inside there. Really, really good. Whew. All right, moving right along with another big chunky grunt here, the Dovin Wolf. I'm gonna put the Dovin Wolf in awesome. Those colors are a little bit funky and probably for me the only thing that's keeping it out of the super tier, S tier, but honestly, it maybe could go in S tier because I do love the design of the Dovin Wolf. As you guys know, the kind of flip side of the Dovin Wolf, the Silver Bullet, is another one of my favorite mobile suit designs. So we're getting a lot of like my favorites here right away. This tier list might end up being kind of very top heavy, but we will definitely get to some of these that I'm gonna put lower in here. Probably not gonna be this next one here, the Jim Jim. I'm gonna put the Jim Jim actually maybe kind of right in the middle, maybe, just because I thought that the Jim Jim was a design that was a really nice kind of like modern take on just the classic Jim design. Really did a good job of modernizing it. The kit itself, the HG kit, was fantastic, but aside from being a modernized Jim, there's not that much that I really like about it. Next up here, the Death Army or the Dark Army here. I'm gonna put in Brave as well in B tier, just because this one I like just because it has a lot of nostalgia value to me. I'm a big fan of G Gundam as a series. I think that the Death Army design is really cool, very unique, as G Gundam is a very unique series. It should have very unique looking grunt mobile suits as well. And I think the fact that it has a big mace weapon that doubles as a rifle, and then you also have like the quad-legged variants of these, they're really cool, very unique designs as far as grunt suits go. Up next then we've got the Clanch, another one from Gundam Age, where we don't have a whole lot from Gundam Age here, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the Clanch in Brave. I don't like it quite as much as the Adele design, but for the same reasons that I like the Adele, and just the fact that I like seeing some of these Age designs in here, I gotta put that right in the middle. I think is a good spot for that one. But then up next we have the Kapul. Now I've got the green variant on here, which is the Turn A version. The Kapul, the Double Zeta version, is the blue version. I like it better in green, and I'm gonna put this one straight up into super, with the Kapul being one of my favorites. I love this in Turn A. I love the model kit as well. The old 144 scale kit that we have of the Kapul is great despite its age. That said, I would really, really love a new kit, and I know that Bandai's got the molds for it because they had the Momo Kapul kit came out, and now it's just a matter of waiting for them to finally release the I would assume it would be HGUC Kapul model kit. Hopefully that's coming out sooner than later. Really looking forward to that. But following that, another very round green boy here from Iron Blooded Orphans is the Manrodi. I really like the Manrodi model kit. The mobile suit design, however, itself is like not as attractive. I feel like it's a really fun kit. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this in Brave. Very unique design for sure, really fun model kit, but the design just on its own, I feel like it leaves a little bit to be desired maybe. All right, my tea is not so piping hot now, so I'm ready to try this out. I'm gonna pair it with something from the Sakura Co box here. The Strawberry Baumkuchen here. It's kind of a roll cake, which I'm a big fan of. This is maybe not the exact proper pairing to go with green tea, but it will be really delicious and sweet. There you go. Very moist and soft. Really good. Again, I don't know if it's really a proper pairing with the tea, but it tastes good with the tea. The tea is nice, a nice green tea flavor with that. Like with most Japanese snacks, when I say sweet, I don't mean sweet by like American standards. It's sweet by like Japanese standards. It's actually not that sweet at all, like for us Westerners, but it's got just a nice little bit of sweetness to it that makes it really good. All right, we're 10 deep, and that means we still have over 60 to go. So let's rapid fire a couple of these. We've got the Daughters. I'm gonna put the Daughters down here in Das What's Up. I love Gundam X as a series. The Daughters is just kind of like, I like the face of it, kind of it's a different take on the gym, but ultimately it's just kind of like a more blocky, less attractive design version of the gym in my opinion, and that's what this is all about, my opinion, so I'm gonna put that there. The Zaku 1 classic, not really my favorite of like different Zakus. I'm gonna put it up here in A tier just because I feel like you kind of have to for the Zaku 1, but yeah, design wise I don't like it as much as the Zaku 2. I also don't like the colors as much, so I feel like that's a good spot for that. We got the GNX4. Now first of all, do you guys say GNX or do you say Jinx? I kind of go back and forth, sometimes I say one or the other. Now there's a lot of these that have a lot of variants, so I was kind of questioning how many different Jinxes I wanted to put on here. There's a regular GNX and there's a GNX4. You know, a lot of these suits have different variations, and I don't know, you know, kind of which we should count as just a variation or a completely different mobile suit. I feel like between the GNX and the GNX4 there was enough difference to include them both here on the list. I'm gonna put this one in I'm gonna put it in B tier just because I do like this design more than the regular GNX. When we get to that, we might as well just do that right now. I'm gonna put that down in cool. I feel like that gray color scheme is just kind of a little bit boring, and there's obviously different variations as I was just saying, and there's like other different designs in the GNX line, but the original like vanilla GNX, it was just, it's a really cool design, but something about it just never really excited me all that much. But all right, then we got a couple of weird ones coming up next with the Dra C. The Dra C is super unique in the fact that it's just like the body of a Zaku 2F2 with this goofy head, like an alien head. It doesn't have legs, just has these huge thruster paws, these huge thrusters on the shoulders, and for that reason I'm gonna put this up in awesome. I really like the design, I really like how unique it is. The ball, I'm gonna put the ball people are probably not gonna like this. I might just put the ball down here in D tier because I mean, first of all, is it really a grunt? I mean, I guess, is it a grunt mobile suit? It's not a mobile suit, so I guess it kind of shouldn't even technically probably be on the list, to be honest, but I don't know. The Daughters is lonely down there, and I mean, there's certainly different versions of the ball that I like more than others, and again, the HG and the MG kits are both really nice model kits, but I mean, as far as designs go, it's a ball with a cannon on the top and then like two little arms on it. I mean, it's kind of silly, right? But I guess those guys won't be too lonely because I'm also going to put the Delanza down there as well from Witch from Mercury. The Delanza is just a design that hasn't really ever like hit with me very well. I mean, it's got a couple of different versions. The black version I thought was pretty cool. And also the gigantic feather on the top of Gil's Delanza was certainly a very unique aspect. On that note, going to a very similarly shaped Gustav Karl here. This is the Type 00 version of the Gustav Karl, not for any particular reason, it's just one that one of you guys mentioned. I'm gonna put that in cool as, again, the proportions and the design. There's some aspects of the Gustav Karl design that I like more than others in certain ways, and it's just one that's always been a little bit odd to just the combination of it being as chunky as it is, and then it usually always has just some like puny little beam rifle too. I feel like something as chunky as that needs like a bigger gun attached onto it or something. And then up next here we've got the Gym Spartan. Now again, there's so many different versions of the Gym: Gym 1, Gym 2, Gym 3, Gym Custom, Gym Command, Gym Cannon, Gym Spartan here, as you'll see, Gym Sniper. So I just included a few in here that were ones that you guys mentioned. There's obviously a lot more gym variants that could have been included in here, but the Gym Spartan, I mean, I'm gonna have to say it's a really awesome design. It's definitely the most realistic, militaristic sort of looking version of the gym, kind of. Everybody loves the HG kit too, of course. It's again a really nice kind of more modern design aesthetic version of the gym in a kind of very militaristic style. All right, I need another snack here before we get to the funky angsha. This is vanilla and chocolate chip ice cream candy bar here from the Tokyo Treat Box. A little dessert. It's kind of all dessert mostly, so this looks really good there. Nice treat. Quite dense, quite heavy. Really nice crunch in there, which I'm guessing is supposed to be like basically like crushed up ice cream cone, like waffle cone crushed up in there to give it some crunch. Really nice. All right, then on to the Anksha. The Anksha I definitely like more than the Aasimar. I'm sorry to say, to all you Aasimar fans, we'll get to that. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the Anksha here in B tier. Really cool design. I've not actually ever built the HG kit. It's one that I would like to build at some point. I like with a lot of designs from the Unicorn series, I really like them, but you may notice here with a lot of these mobile suits that we're going to be going through today, there's definitely a color theme going on with these. There's a lot of blues and greens and whites, kind of it's very monotone. You'll get a little bit of red, orange kind of here and there. There's hardly anything yellow, just something that I noticed. And then another transforming grunt here, we have the Ares. I really like the Ares a lot in theory. Here I'm gonna put it in Brave, and I just feel like I've seen it blown up so many times in Gundam Wing that in my mind I feel like, oh, it's a really cool design, but it just like is a, I wouldn't even say a glass cannon, because it's not really, it doesn't really have any like firepower necessarily. It's just a glass. It's a very easily destroyed grunt suit. I mean, you would think that it would be able to hold its own a bit more. Up next, the Demi Trainer, also from Witch from Mercury. I'm gonna put in Cool. I definitely like the Demi Trainer more than the Dilanza from the same series. I like how like kind of customizable it is as just like a platform. Obviously we've seen like a number of different versions of the Demi Trainer, but for me at the same time, not really a whole lot that really gets me excited about that one. The Goof Ignited from Gundam Seed. Now, one thing that I love about Gundam Seed is their interpretations of like the One Year War Zeon designs. The Goof Ignited, not exactly my favorite among those though. I'm gonna put this down here in Cool. The other ones I'll definitely put higher for sure. The Goof Ignited I just don't like as much as like the Zaku Warrior, the Jin. I will say I do like Heine Westenflus's orange colored Goof Ignited more than just like the standard blue. But when it comes to the Goof, I just love the Goof custom design, even just the standard Goof or like the desert Goof in particular, the Goof flight type. All right, then here, the only thing that we're gonna see on this list from Reconquista NG is the Cat Sith. The Cat Sith is, I feel like it's a very misunderstood, underappreciated design, although it's not an easy to love design. I'm gonna put it here in Cool. I think probably a lot of you guys would put it in D tier. I'm gonna put it in C tier just because I feel like it's one that myself, and I feel like probably a lot of you guys as well, need to revisit, and I kind of really hope that Bandai will, hopefully sometime soon, reprint some of the HG Reco kits other than the G-Self Space type, which I feel like is the only one that's been reprinted in recent years. So I feel like maybe the designs weren't as appreciated just because a lot of people didn't really like the series, and then the kits came out and the kits weren't really good either. But the designs, I feel like maybe had a little bit more to them than we really appreciated at the time. So I would love to revisit this kit. Actually, I never built this kit, but I would love to check out this kit if it gets reprinted. And I think that I might end up liking it maybe more than I expect to, but we'll see. Right here then, also from G-Witch, I'm gonna go ahead and put the Gundam node in Cool as well. Really cool design. Actually, I'll put this up in Brave. Actually, among the different G-Witch grunts that we have on here, the Gundam node is a really cool design, with it basically just being kind of like a grunt version of a Gundam. It really has that kind of a Gundam vibe to it, just with like a grunt color scheme slapped on it, essentially. All right, up next, we got the Dom Tropen. I'm gonna put this up here in A tier. It's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite, kind of Dom-esque variant that we've got on here. I really love like the jet engines that it's got on the side of the leg. I've got the desert color type of variant on here. There is also, of course, just like the standard kind of purple one too, but I definitely prefer the tan and brown one. It's a fairly uncommon color scheme as well. Like I said, we've got a lot of blues, greens, whites, not a lot of brown. And that brings us then to the classic Zaku 2, of course. I've got to put that up in S tier just because I love the Zaku 2. If I were, you know, putting in different versions of the Zaku 2, it'd be the Zaku 2 F2, as you guys know, is my favorite. And then of course, there's also like the high mobility type Zakus are really cool. The Zaku, like the mine layer backpack types are cool as well. There's a lot of different Zaku 2s to enjoy, but just Zaku 2s generally, I feel like gotta go in S tier. The Zigok, it's a design that certainly has grown on me a lot in more recent years. I'm gonna put it down in C tier though. I do appreciate it a lot more than maybe I did, you know, in the past. And it does have some really cool model kits as well. Even the HGUC kit is not that bad, with it being one of the very first HGUC kits in the entire line. It's quite old. It's got a great RG kit. It's got a great MG kit. The MG kit is also pretty old, but also pretty nice, I would say. But again, trying not to focus too much on the kits. The design itself, it's very cool, very unique in the fact that it's just got big claw hands instead of using hands to grasp any other kind of weapons or anything. So it's very unique in that aspect, but it's not as cool as some of these other ones on here, I would say. And especially compared to our next one here, the Gelgoo. I do also have the Gelgoo Marine on here as well, which we'll take a look at separately. It's another one kind of, I was on the fence deciding, you know, should I include both or not, or just include them both as just Gelgoo generally. But the Gelgoo, I'm going to also put in S tier. I love the Gelgoo. Honestly, for me, the Gelgoo has become one of my favorite designs just kind of generally in like kind of all Gundam anything. I just really love the Gelgoo. If it came down to between the Zaku 2 and the Gelgoo, I would have a really hard time kind of choosing which would be my favorite among them. And it's an old design, being again from the 1 Year War, but it doesn't have that same kind of goofy retro look to something like the Zigok or some other ones that we're gonna see. All right, snack time again from the Sakura Co box. Here I've got this jelly here. This is the Setochi Hasaku jelly. This has a citrus fruit from fruit grown in the Setochi region. So it's a jelly here. We've actually got 2 of these in there. I can see it's got like liquid in there too, so I'm gonna try not to make a mess. Definitely would be preferable if you can actually like open this and put it nicely onto like a little dish or something. I'm sure the makers would hate to see me just eating it right out of the packaging like that, but it is really good. It does have that nice little bit of just like citrus, like sweet citrus flavor to it. Again, not super sweet at all, not a super like really like strong overpowering taste or anything by any means. There's also these Muscat grape gummies as well, which look really good, but I'll take those home and share with my family. All right, up next, everyone's favorite, the Tyran. I am definitely going to put the Tyran high. It's not going in S tier for me. I'm definitely going to put it in A tier though. Really cool design. Again, love how kind of like real world militaristic this is. Probably one of the most in that way on this list here. It does also have some really cool variations of that with the space type. I mean, who doesn't love those gigantic fuel tanks sticking out of the front of its knees? Really odd. Up next then, also from Gundam 00, is the Overflag. I'm gonna put the Overflag here in B tier. Again, a lot of really cool variations. I do really like how unique this one is, with the Overflag being like probably one of the slimmest designs we've got on here. It's kind of famous for how notably slim the design is, and it is really cool in that sense. I do really like that. It has a quite unique weapon too, with like the spinning like propeller blade on the side for it's a shield on the arm. All right, then up next, as for the Greys, I honestly didn't think about this beforehand, but just thinking about it now, I would definitely either put the Greys either S tier or A tier for me. I'm gonna put it in A tier, although I am kind of tempted to almost put it in S tier just because the Greys, just super cool design. Again, it has a ton of really awesome variants in terms of its, you know, model kits. Unfortunately, we still don't have a master grade of that, although I really hope that we will at some point. We do have a 1/100 scale non-grade, and then obviously a number of different HG Greys model kits that are fantastic. Just super cool design, as it's sort of like meant to be like the Zaku of the series. I think they did a really good job just kind of interpreting the design of the Zaku just by keeping like the fact that it's a mono-eye, it's got that green color scheme, it's the enemy Grunt, but then like just really kind of changing the shape in a way that I think just kind of really works really well for a Grunt mobile suit design. So I really do like the Greys a lot. Up next then here, the F80 Gun Raid. Not a design that I'm really super familiar with, actually, to be honest with you guys. Just as far as the design goes though, I'm gonna put this here in cool. It's a cool design, one that I know did get a master grade kit actually fairly recently, but it's definitely one that I'm gonna have to maybe look more into. I don't have that master grade, I didn't get it, but it does have a pretty cool design to it. Up next then, the Nemo. The Nemo is another one that definitely has grown on me in recent years. Built the HG and I've yet to build the MG, although the MG does look pretty nice. I will have to check that out. I'm gonna put this one in C tier as well. There's certain aspects of the Nemo design that I really like. There's certain aspects that I'm not quite so sold on, to be honest. It's just kind of a little bit middle of the road there. So I feel like C tier, I don't like it. It's not one that I like really like. That's pretty cool. Up next, one of the designs that was one of the favorites among you guys, and I know is just kind of one of everyone's favorites, the Jester. I'm gonna put the Jester in B tier for me. I like the Jester, but I just do find it a little bit, it's not quite like the most interesting design for me. And obviously it's really cool in the anime with it being, you know, obviously a very strong, quite powerful mobile suit. Some of the variants I do kind of find more interesting just because they have like a kind of a little bit more going on, like the Shezar versions that we've seen. So it's one that I think maybe like when customized by either changing the color scheme or adding stuff to it, I like it more than just kind of the standard like regular Jester. All right, then for the Wadom. The Wadom is probably one of the largest in terms of like its size in canon, and then it's definitely one of the weirdest. So I would say I'm gonna put the Wadom here in cool. As you guys know, I love Turn A, and I do really like how unique the Wadom design is, and I'm tempted to maybe just put it here in B tier for that. Actually, I didn't include the flat on here, which I'm not even sure if you would consider the flat as a Grunt mobile suit, because it's a mobile suit, I guess, technically, but it's not really meant for warfare, so I don't know if that would make it a Grunt necessarily, or it's just a machine basically. If I were to include it though, I would definitely put it very high. The Wadom, I don't know, I think I'll just leave it there in C tier. So then up next, the Rizel. The Rizel is a mobile suit design that I really love, and I know a lot of you guys do as well. As when I asked you on social media, this one came up quite a bit, that a lot of you guys did like the Rizel. I love the Rizel design. This one was, again, one that when it first came out, I didn't like love it, but I've grown to love it. It's a mobile suit design that, again, it's probably up there as like one of my favorites now. I really like it a lot. All right, the Gym Cannon here, I'm gonna put maybe around, it's probably cool. For the Gym Cannon. The added armor on the legs and a little bit different design for the chest to accommodate the cannon is certainly a very interesting upgrade to just kind of the standard Gym, but not really too much else going on other than that. The Jin, I'm gonna put the Jin definitely up here in A tier. I really like the Jin's design from the moment when the beginning of Gundam Seed, when like you first see the fighting against the Jin as a mobile suit, it just had a very intimidating nature to the design. That, and again, kind of very interesting take off of kind of, you know, based on One Year War kind of Zeon designs, but then just kind of interpreted here. I love the big head crest on it. The backpack's cool. All right, up next then, the Gym 3. I'm gonna put the Gym 3 in, well, I'm gonna put that up there in B tier. Definitely compared to like the Gym 1, Gym 2, I definitely like the Gym 3 more than those ones. I like it more than the Gym Colony type, which is another one we've got here on the list coming up. So among kind of different variations of the Gym 3 definitely would be one of my favorite, especially with those like missile pods on the side skirts. And once you get into like some of the different kind of armaments that you've got for the Gym 3, it's got some really cool stuff going on. And then we've got the standard Gyms. So it feels weird to put the Zaku up in S tier, the Zaku 2 anyway, just because with it being kind of like the original enemy grunt. I mean, obviously aside from the Zaku 1, the Zaku 2 is like the main enemy grunt that that Amuro fights in the original series. And then obviously the Federation side version of that is the Gym. So they're both kind of classic, but I just don't like the Gym's design quite as much. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Gym down here in cool. He cool, but I mean, a little boring, to be honest. The Rick Diaz, I'm gonna go ahead and put down here in D tier. I definitely prefer the Shazram Diaz variation. At least the backpack is a little bit more interesting than what we've got here with the original, just kind of regular Rick Diaz, but the Rick Diaz has just never really done a whole lot for me, I'll say. The Ground Gym, I'm gonna put the Ground Gym there. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna put the Ground Gym there in B tier. The Ground Gym, a really cool version of the Gym, and then we've also got the Ground Gundam. I'm just gonna go ahead and put those both right in there in B tier. The Ground Gundam is technically a mass production design, like a Grunt sort of, although it's sort of kind of, I mean, it's always just kind of gonna feel like a Gundam though, even though there's multiple of them and it is like a Grunt sort of mass-produced unit. It just doesn't really quite have that same kind of Grunt feeling to it, with it being like having a Gundam head essentially on it, is what it looks like anyway, I know. All right, then the Dreesen, I'm gonna go ahead and plop the Dreesen down there in D tier as well. I know a lot of people like the Dreesen. This is another one that maybe if I saw it in different colors, I mean, this colorway is very kind of like old school 80s, like double Zeta style, like color scheme on it, and I feel like maybe painted in different colors, something a bit more grounded, I might like a little bit better, but it's just never really done that much for me, that one. The Rebel Wolf up here then, I feel like this is a little bit unfair just because the Rebel Wolf is just like so cool. I'm gonna put that in awesome. I feel like that could definitely go in S tier for sure, but it's just a design that's so cool that it feels like a little bit unfair to all the rest of the grunts that this even be like considered the same. I actually have the HG kit right here, and it's one that I am very much looking forward to building. I haven't built it yet. I was surprised that it even got a model kit release, and hoping and praying that we get more variations of that as model kits in the future. They will undoubtedly be premium Bandai, of course, but it would still be cool to see more variants of that coming out. The Sumo, this is another one, kind of like the Grays. I hadn't really thought too much about it ahead of time, but actually just, you know, thinking about it now, I'm gonna put the Sumo definitely in A tier. This is one that, again, I really hope that we get some nice new model kits of the Sumo, whether it be an actual Master Grade would be really cool, or just a nice new HG kit of the Sumo would be nice as well. Another really cool design, very unique, and as a Turn A fan, you gotta love the Sumo's design. All right, one more snack from each box here. From the Tokyo Treat box, of course, we have to try the Kit Kats. Salted caramel Kit Kats. I feel like you kind of can't go wrong with any Kit Kat flavor, but salted caramel is obviously gonna be a pretty safe choice. Very good. Up next, this is probably the one that you guys listed the most, the Jagen, and the different Jagen variations. This one, there's a ton of different Jagen variations. You guys said like the D-type Stark Jagen, the prototype Stark Jagen. I don't know, there's a bunch of different Jagen variations. I'm gonna put the Jagen definitely in A tier. I agree with you guys. It's a really awesome design. Not quite S tier for me, maybe just because of it being a little bit plain. I think it's plain by design. I think that's probably what a lot of you guys like about it, how plain it is, just with it being like kind of a grunt. You kind of want them to be a little plain. I mean, the Jagen for sure is really classic, kind of really nice, balanced, like really well designed grunt mobile suit for sure. And then we've got a very similar to the Jagen looking Gym Custom here. So the Gym Custom, I'm gonna put the Gym Custom there in B tier, along with like the Gym 3, the Gym Ground type. They're all kind of gyms. You can kind of see like a bit of a theme there between the B and the C tier of gym variations that I like, and then gym variations that are just all right. Then up next, going with the Gun Easy. I was actually really surprised at how much I enjoyed the RE100 model kit of the Gun Easy. It's not a design that I had ever really thought that I really liked all that much, but I did really like the model kit, and it did kind of make me enjoy the design more. That said, it's still not really one of my favorite designs. I think it has a lot of potential in the different variations that you have with this. It's kind of very similar to the Jagen, I guess, in that sense. I'm going to put this here in B tier as well. I don't like it quite as much as the Jagen, but I feel like it's very similar in terms of like, if there's things that you like about the Jagen, you'll also like about the Gun Easy. The Danan Zon here is another one that I never really was a huge fan of, and I still don't love it, but it has grown on me a bit. I'm gonna put that in a C tier there. The whole like goggles thing. One of the things about those designs that has always been kind of very off-putting for me is the ones that have like the thrusters on the like near the bottom of the legs that just kind of stick straight out to the side. It's always looked really weird to me. It's just kind of an odd thing. All right, the Zogok was a design that I certainly never really thought about too much until Gundam Unicorn, and it did have a really impressive showing in Gundam Unicorn. I think it was really cool to see. That said, it is still pretty weird looking. I'm gonna put this here in cool with the spikes on the head just looking like a really weird, like bad haircut. It's a very unique design. I can appreciate that. It's very, very similar to the Zigok, but just kind of swapped out the claws for actual hands so it can actually hold weapons and stuff. The Virgo 2 here is a design that I really like quite a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and put that here in B tier, so we're now expanding out our B tier. The Zowart from Witch from Mercury, I definitely preferred the Zowart heavy version of the design, but just the standard Zowart I feel like was definitely trying to be like the Jagen of Witch from Mercury. It's very similar to the Jagen in a lot of ways. I don't particularly like it quite as much as the Jagen, but I do like the design quite a bit. I think it was a pretty cool design. I'm gonna go ahead and put that there in B tier as well. The Shuzram Gallus, I'm gonna put the Shuzram Gallus down here actually in C tier. It's something from something from Unicorn, which you would think like based on my preferences would be something that I would like. And I do really like it, but it's like a specialized grunt and one that I almost sort of questioned, should it really be on here? But more than one of you guys also said that it was one of your favorites. So it's a Grunt, I guess. If we're considering this a Grunt, it is a cool design with some interesting aspects to it. But then up next here, we've got the Hygog. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Hygog just up here in S tier, just because of how much I enjoy the design of this one and how fun I just find the design of this one to be. It's kind of a really nice blending of aesthetics going on with this one. And if you've ever built HGUC kit, then for sure you're probably a fan of the Hygog as well. And like me, very, very anxiously awaiting the day that we might get a 1/100 scale, whether it be an RE100 or an MG. I wouldn't care at this point. I would just hope that we might get a 1/100 scale Hygog at some point, but I love the design. Then we're going to the Bukkyu, and again, we're going to kind of balance it out because I'm going to go ahead and put the Bukkyu down there at the bottom. It's an interesting idea, you know, having like a mobile suit rather than having like humanoid design. It's got like a dog kind of design. It's interesting, but I don't really think that it really works so much for me. I'm just not a big fan of it. The Gym Sniper 2, I actually kind of don't like as much as the Gym Sniper 1, which I didn't include on this list. And to be fair, I probably like the Gym Sniper 1 a lot just because of I enjoy it being featured in 8th MS team. And again, the Gym Sniper 2, I feel like I would like more in different colors. I think this is another probably instance of where like the color scheme makes me not like it quite as much, but it is a cool design. It's just not like one of my favorites. I'm gonna go ahead and put that there in B tier as well. The Hyzak is one that has certainly grown on me a little bit. I've talked about just fairly recently. I just reviewed the Master Grade not all that long ago. It is still, I think, gonna go down here in C tier for me, the Hyzak. And then up next here, the mass production type gun cannon. I'm gonna put this here in C tier as well. I don't really care for it that much. I don't know. This one, I think, you know, after going through like 60 of these, I'm gonna start to sound a little bit repetitive a bit, but this one, again, I feel like is one where I would like it in different colors. The red with the white head just kind of has like a kind of toy color scheme to it, where I feel like if we saw this in a little bit more kind of grounded color scheme, I would like the mass production type gun cannon more. Then the Magonak. I know there's a lot of different like variations to the Magonak design that, you know, don't change the design drastically, but I just kind of went for like the standard Magonak here to just put on the list. This one I'm also going to put in C tier. Some variations I like more than others for sure. And, you know, there's not like a huge variation in the design, I guess, but those are really cool just for like what they are in the story. That said, not really like my favorite in terms of the design. Then the Aasimar. I know there's a lot of really big Aasimar fans out there. I'm just not one of them. It's just one of those that I just haven't been converted to an Aasimar fan yet. I don't know if and when I might ever be, just because it's a funky design. Obviously, everybody jokes about how it transforms into a donut. It's got a really odd color scheme, which I like. I think I mentioned earlier that there's basically no yellow on here. I think it's one of the only suits in the entirety of this list that we're taking a look at that has like much of any yellow to it, other than like a little bit of yellow on the Bawu maybe. Up next then, the Leo, one that everybody loves, and I'm right there with you. I'm gonna put the Leo there with the Virgo 2 in B tier. I like both of those quite a lot. Just the Leo is just kind of the very prototypical like Grunt. When we think of Grunts and Gundam, I think the Leo is one that a lot of us would think of straight away. Obviously, for a lot of us, where Gundam Wing was our introduction into Gundam, we've seen the Leo blown up so many times facing off against the Gundams, or more so just like being blown up by the Gundams in the series. But there's some really cool, like the Leo space type, the Leo flight type, really cool variations of the Leo. I do like it a lot. Right up next then here, the James gun, kind of like the gun raid that we took a look at before. I'm gonna put this down here in C tier as well. It's a pretty cool design, one that I'm just not super familiar with, and one that I don't necessarily dislike for any particular reason. It's pretty cool, so I feel like a cool tier. It's a good spot for that. And I'm gonna do the same actually for the Zolo as well while we're here, just because again, it's a design that I do find kind of interesting, but it's just not one that I really have a lot of experience with, so I couldn't say that I really necessarily like it. And just to knock a couple of these out, I'm also gonna put the Phanton there as well. Kind of a very interesting kind of step up, I guess, from the Tyrann, I believe, right? Like canonically, but I think it doesn't quite have the same charm that the Tyrann has, just in terms of the design with the head like sticking like way out there like that. It just kind of looks a bit weird. But then for the Goof flight type, I'm definitely going to put the Goof flight type here in B. I really like that, just kind of with it being based off of, in terms of like the design, very similar to the Goof Custom, especially if we're talking about like the 8th MS team version of the Goof flight type there. But really cool design. Obviously those big like jet engines on the legs there for it being the flight type. Up next then, the M1 Astray. I'm actually gonna maybe put the M1 Astray in B, just because, and that might come as a surprise maybe to some of you guys, I'm not sure. I actually kind of prefer the M1 Astray design to like the actual Astray red frame, and that's just because I always kind of prefer it with the rifle and the shield more so than with the katana. And so with the M1 Astray being kind of like that, basically just having like kind of the standard shield rifle loadout and not leaning so hard into like the samurai with a katana sort of vibe that you have with like the regular Astray red frame, I kind of like this direction for the design a bit better. So I actually really quite like the M1. All right, with just a few left, let's also try the white peach dorayaki here from the Sakura Co box. Dorayaki is always good. You kind of can't go wrong with sweet pancakes with stuff in the middle. And honestly, kind of amazing how much of that white peach flavor you get in there. I mean, it's just kind of peach flavor that you have in this. I suppose it doesn't taste just like kind of standard peach though, so I can kind of tell the difference that is white peach. Really, really nice there on the inside, and just perfect size too, not like too big, because though I find with dorayaki, if you like were eating like a larger one, that just like fills you up immediately. This is a good size with it being a little bit smaller. All right, so we're down to the last 8 here. So I've got the Dom. This one's gonna stand in for the Dom / Rick Dom interchangeably here. I'm gonna go ahead and put the Dom in B tier. I do really love the Dom's design. Between the two, between like the regular Dom and the Rick Dom, I mean, I kind of don't know which one I would prefer. Just thinking about the difference just in terms of like the weaponry, I do really like the Rakuten bazooka of the regular Dom, but then I do also really love the beam bazooka of the Rick Dom, so it would be really difficult to decide between the two. Then up next here, another one from Gundam Seed, but not one of the ones that is based off of a One Year War Zeon design, but we've got the Windom. I'm gonna put the Windom here in B. The art is not really doing it justice, I feel like, and I feel like this is one that I didn't really think too much about until we actually got the HG kit, and then I actually really liked this one a lot just because the HG kit was so fun. It kind of really turned me around on the Windom's design, just kind of in general. And I really like it now with, again, it looking kind of very much like a Gundam, then also having that sleekness of just a really nice Grunt design as well. Then we've got the Gelgoo Marine, as I mentioned earlier. I really love the Gelgoo, so I'm just gonna put the Gelgoo Marine down here. I like them both. I just kind of like the original Gelgoo, maybe a little bit more. The Gelgoo Marine, again, is kind of a little bit kind of slightly, because the Gelgoo Marine is not that new. So a slightly modernized kind of design version of the Gelgoo, which I like, but I still just kind of prefer the original Gelgoo. And then we've got the Messer. I'm gonna put the Messer, let's see, in either B or C for me. I don't love the Messer design, but it is really cool. I think just kind of comparing it to some of the other mobile suits in these rankings, I'm gonna put it here in B. I feel like I kind of like it about on the same level as a lot of these other ones here in B for me when it comes to the Messer. Very cool design in a lot of aspects, quite unique too, with it having a lot of chunk, a lot of bulk to it, but in a different way. I feel like a little bit more balanced way than something like the Gustav Karl or like the Delanza, which I put lower on the list here. Up next, the Gym Colony type. I'm going to go ahead and put the Gym Colony type there in C. I do kind of like the space type just because it has a pretty unique rifle. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot that I really necessarily love about the Gym Colony type. It's relatively boring, I feel like. And maybe that's something that people like about it. I mean, it is just a grunt at the end of the day, right? But that said, the Zaku Warrior, I really like the Zaku Warrior. And just like with the Jin, I'm going to go ahead and put that up there in A. Both of those being, again, really cool Seed interpretations of like One Year War designs, obviously with the Zaku Warrior in particular being like Seed's version of the Zaku 2. And these last couple here, we got 2 left, and they're also ones that I really like. So the Zeku Irons, I'm gonna go ahead and put the Zeku Irons here, I think I want to put it in A tier. but I think that's gonna kind of mess up where you're cut off the screen now here. There we go. Just need to adjust the size of our tier list here to account for that, because I feel like it would be a shame to put the Zaku Irons down to a lower tier just because then it wouldn't fit on screen. I do really like the design of the Zaku Irons quite a bit, and this is one that I would really hope that we get a new model kit of. What would be really, really awesome, I think that the Zaku Irons would make for a really nice RE100 kit to go along with some of the master grade kits that we have from Gundam Sentinel. Like we've got the Gundam Mark V, obviously the Deep Striker, the SXS kind of 1.5 master grade kit that we got, the FAZ. So we have all these really nice master grades from the line, but the Zaku Irons is one that we don't have in 1/100 scale at all. It would be a really nice addition to have in 1/100 scale, even just as an RE100 kit, which I think it would be a really good fit for. So that's something that I do hope that we see maybe someday in the future. And that means the last one here is going to be the Serpent Custom. I'm going to go ahead and put the Serpent Custom right there alongside that in A tier as well. I love the Serpent Custom's design. We did, of course, get that very recent sort of new HG Serpent Custom kind of unofficial model kit, which was great, but it would be really cool if Bandai would come out with a new 1/100 scale or 1/44 scale, just a new model kit of the Serpent Custom as well, with them going along with doing some new HG kits from Gundam Wing, like we have the Sandrock Custom coming out. Hopefully once they go through like the main Gundams, we might see something like a new HG Serpent. It might end up being a P Bandai kit, which again, nobody would love, but it would be nice to have a new model kit from Bandai of the Serpent, and I would really like that. I really love the design, and of course there's a little bit of nostalgia in there as well. But that's my list. It was a long video. There was a lot that we went through, and this is not even close to comprehensive of like all the different mobile suits from all the different Gundam series that you could count as grunts. This was just a bunch of the ones that I gathered that you guys had mentioned as replies on my posting on social media. But share with me some of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Where do you think I messed up? What were some other mobile suits that you would like to have seen on this list, and where would you have placed them? And again, thank you to Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co for sponsoring. If you guys want to check out Tokyo Treat and or Sakura Co, check the links down in the video description and the pinned comment down below. Really great stuff. I'm going to take the rest of this home and share with my family. They love when I bring this stuff home and bring them a bunch of snacks and treats to enjoy. So I really do honestly like these boxes a lot, and I highly recommend you guys check them out. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much. If you want to check out some of the model kits that I talked about in today's video, of course, you can check the link in the video description down there as well for USA Gundam Store. Got all sorts of great Gunpla and more there on the site. And as always, thank you guys so much for checking out the video here today, leaving a like and making sure you're subscribed. I really appreciate it. Until next time, see you guys.